Viewers, look at your screens. The protest against the Karnataka school board's hijab curb has taken a dangerous turn. A group of reactionaries has now turned the young girls into props in a crude attempt to weaponize their Islamic identity. All of this is leading to a dangerous powder keg-like situation. There were clashes, stone pelting, hectoring. Viewers, eventually in some parts of the state, Section 144 had to be imposed, and the state government immediately came out and said the next 3 days will be declared holidays so that tempers cool. But viewers, what's truly astounding is that a few years ago, liberals were falling over themselves to defend modernity in the face of misogyny. They cheered as women mounted an audacious attempt to literally scale one of the last standing citadels of patriarchy, the platform from where the Shani deity beneficently showers his blessings over the faithful in Shani Shignapur. The activist, and look at her on the screen, the activist spearheading the symbolic ascent was a gender rights activist called Trupti Desai. This young woman found it reprehensible that worshippers from her gender weren't allowed to offer prayers because of a patriarchal religious diktat. She won the right after the judiciary intervened and the state facilitated gender equality, much to the horror of religious conservatives. Emboldened, Desai laid siege to 2 other prominent temples. Here too she won for women the right to pray at par with men. Desai was the darling, viewers, the darling of the Latvian media. Assorted feminists and secular Hindus stopped just short of beatifying her as a saint who had delivered womankind from the sexist privations of Hindu male chauvinists. A similar script played out in the build-up to the Sabrimala verdict. Here too, custom deemed essential to the practice of the faith were challenged by feminists who sought the right to enter the sanctum sanctorum of the resident deity. Once again, the matter reached the Supreme Court. Then 4 of the 5 justices on the bench ruled that the state had the power to override a religious practice because it violated the fundamental rights to equality enshrined in the Constitution. Today, viewers, despite this Supreme Court order, there are people arguing in court on behalf of the hijab backers that the state has no authority, no right to look into religious practices or those that are essential to a religion. Can you see, viewers, the U-turn? In the Sabrimala case, only one justice, Indu Malhotra, dissented on the grounds that, and I quote her, notions of rationality cannot be invoked in matters of religion by courts. But as you know, viewers, her dissenting note was patronizingly dismissed by a powerful women's lobby as the view of a conservative who was keen to uphold the stereotype of a submissive Indian woman who shouldn't question her place in society. But today, viewers, when certain Karnataka colleges have taken a position in favor of uniformity, gender equality, and social order to restrict the use of the hijab in classrooms, these very same activists have done a spectacular somersault. U-turn. Indeed, the hijab, that is considered by many feminists in the Islamic world as a symbol of female oppression, has been suddenly turned into an inalienable totem of Muslim identity. Now it must be protected from the unwarranted attentions of a Hindutva state keen on locking young women out of a classroom and by extension a modern education. The about flip, the U-turn, is solely political, viewers. And I am not misleading you here. The Latvian ecosystem is fervently opposed to anything BJP, even if it is, as in this case, an attempt to put gender equality first, to put the constitution over customs which are regressive. In fact, the motivated lurch towards the embrace of patriarchy by the Khan market liberals would have been amusing had it not been a sad example of sacrificing a woman's right of choice at the altar of a misogynistic stratagem devised to deny a woman agency over a being and body. It feels like deja vu. Haven't we been here before? Wasn't it in 1985 when Shah Bano was similarly thrown to the wolves by these very same fickle-minded Lutyens, liberal patricians? Think about it, viewers. I'm talking almost 30 years ago. One hopes and prays, one really hopes and prays that someone reminds the young women of Karnataka's Udupi district of Shah Bano's fate. Let me tell you, viewers, today was an animated day in the courts. Those backing hijab made some astounding claims, putting patriarchy on a pedestal. Yes, viewers, patriarchy was hailed as free choice for women in the Karnataka High Court. Let me take you through, viewers, what was argued by one lawyer, Devdutt Kamath. He said, as per Quranic verse 24:31, can't reveal neckline to anyone other than a husband. This is in the context of women, viewers. Went on to say, if religious tenet doesn't allow women to become priests, then state can't impose. So viewers, in Sabrimala, they had no problem with the state imposing a diktat, even though it violated the deity's rights. But here, they have a massive problem. They have a massive problem. Viewers, Devdutt Kamath said, in school somebody wears a namam, a hijab, a cross. This reflects positive secularism, he said. A Sikh who's wearing a turban, can the state say it affects public order? Viewers, he says, can court pass an omnibus injunction against others to suspend Article 19 rights? Making a hijab, wearing student to sit separately is a form of religious apartheid. Yes, even I agree, viewers, on this last point. You should not be. They shouldn't have been allowed. Simple. Here, of course, the state began to lose its nerve. It was doing the right thing, began to lose its nerve. Devdutt Kamath is the counsel for the petitioner in the High Court. Now, let me tell you, viewers, there are some massive misconceptions, and I want to bring the hard facts to you right now. The first hard fact, viewers, is that the state has no right to intervene. It can't stand in judgment, so the High Court should not even be looking at this. Leave it to the clergy. That's wrong, viewers. These people are wrong. Section 133(2) of the Act gives the state the power to give such directions to the officers or authorities under its control as in its opinions are necessary or expedient for carrying out purposes of this Act, and it shall be the duty of such officer or authority to comply with such directions. Viewers, let's not forget, in this particular matter, they are saying that the state is interfering in religious rights. No, it isn't. The state government order does not single out the hijab. It is only called out for uniformity in school attire. Then, viewers, is the claim that the hijab is an integral part of Islam. The Kerala High Court 2016 order says so. Viewers, what these people are not telling you is that even the courts are divided. The Bombay High Court in 2003 said the essence of Muslim religion or Islam cannot be said to have been interfered with by directing petitioner not to wear headscarf in school. They said it's not necessary, it's only a matter of ego. Kerala High Court in 2018 upheld the right of a private school to not allow women to wear hijab in classrooms. Viewers, they are saying that will you ask Sikhs to remove their turban? Well, let me tell you, the turban has been held as an essential religious symbol of Sikhism by the Punjab and Haryana High Court. This is not true of the hijab, viewers. There's a massive divide in the courts on this issue, and I've just pointed that out to you. And viewers, where is the regressive mindset about wearing a turban? It's not a symbol of patriarchy. It doesn't reduce a person's agency over their own physical being. It is one of the integral components, identity markers of Sikhs. The 5 Ks, viewers. And let me also tell you, there are laws like the Motor Vehicles Act in India which exempt turban Sikhs from wearing a helmet. This is all well known. Viewers, let me also point out that in private events like a cycle competition where a Sikh refused to wear a helmet because he was wearing the turban and not allowed to participate, the court dismissed his plea. It has also happened. Nonetheless, I just wanted to bring certain facts out, and I want to open this up, viewers. I want to open this up because we have a platoon of hypocrites who cheer the lady who knocked down the gates of Shani Shignapur and Shabrimala. Viewers, because it was in the interests of women and their rights and equality, but here they've done a somersault. Now I want to ask a more fundamental question. And I want to ask this question of Dr. Suman C. Raman. Dr. Raman, is this U-turn because the state in question is run by a BJP state government? Why wasn't this U-turn questioned when the Kerala government made exactly the same pronouncement about hijab? Where was the dharna then? Where were the protests at the barricades? Where was the Sherni? I want to ask you.
Rahul, I trust you will give me at least a minute to answer in detail without being interrupted.
Take two.
Thank you. Now, first of all, what is happening in Karnataka is absolutely shameful. And I am yet to see on any channel, whether it is an English channel or a Kannada channel, any evidence that wearing a hijab is expressly forbidden under any of these colleges or any of these schools. A uniform is insisted upon is something that has been stated. And the second very important point is almost across the board, teachers from these schools are on record saying that the girls have been permitted with hijabs up to now. So there are two things which are crystal clear. One, there is no rule explicitly prohibiting wearing the hijab in school or college. Second, there is this process of wearing the hijab and allowing those students into class has continued until now. Now, these are the two facts which are critical here. As far as this issue is concerned, these are the two facts which are critical. Now, the government should have stepped in immediately when this happened in Udupi in the end of December. They should have stepped in and put an end to this. Instead of that, I entirely blame the Karnataka government for having allowed things to drift to the stage where stone pelting has started today and where the police had to resort to a lathi charge and so on. This is complete dereliction of duty on the part of the government. The government should have stepped in, allowed those students back into class. If they were contemplating a dress code of any sorts and stopping or banning all religious symbols, that should have been done at the end of the academic year before the start of the next academic year. You cannot legally stop somebody who has been wearing the same dress in the absence of any new rule to the contrary. And I think that this is a sad day. The scenes that we have seen today in Karnataka will have to make every Indian hang his head in shame. Children's minds are being poisoned. I'm sorry.
Let me show you.
Did you see the video?
One second.
1 minute, Rahul, 1 minute. Did you see the video of those saffron headgear being collected by somebody? I mean, this is not spontaneous.
Can I say something?
You think all these students got saffron scarves from their houses?
Can I say
Somebody
something?
is obviously orchestrating.
Can I say something, sir? Are you saying that the SDPI... No. Are you saying that the SDPI, the PFI... Remember, sir, in Udupi, since you're so familiar with the geography, the history of Udupi, the SDPI has four important legislators from here. So let me ask you, sir. No, 1 minute. Let me, no. Let me finish, sir. Please allow me.
Who gave the saffron scarves?
Sir, now you will not let me speak. I gave you 4 minutes on the show.
Answer my question.
You asked once. I'll tell you.
Who gave
Let me answer, and I'll answer it with visuals. I won't answer with anything else. I'll show you the proof. I want to pull out 2009, 2010 school yearbook photos. 2009 and 2010.
The same photos.
Arey bhai, sir. Doctor, let me finish.
Is the principal telling a lie?
I allowed you, sir. I allowed you to finish.
What is the point of putting out three
Can I
nothing?
speak? Can I speak, or you're going to muzzle me also? Put me under a veil of.
Yesterday also.
Put me under a veil. No, put me under a veil, sir. Of
putting you under a veil.
Veil of silence. Put me under a veil of silence. Let me speak. I beg you, sir. You're a very worthy man. I am a small, mangy anchor. Let me make my points. I'm only putting the facts out there. What are the facts? Viewers, in 2009, in 2010, even in 2021, there is a yearbook in which, viewers, there are very few people wearing the hijab. In fact, in 2009, 2010, in the yearbook, there's no one wearing a hijab. That's one point. Suddenly, where have all these hijabs come from? A question I can ask of Dr. Suman C. Raman. How are there hundreds of people now? 1 minute, sir. 1 minute, sir. Let me precisely where the shawls have come from. 1 minute, Dr. Suman C. Raman. Dr. Suman C. Raman, give me 30 seconds. This is 2021, 2022. Five people barely in the class of 100 or so are wearing a hijab. Suddenly everyone is wearing a hijab. Now, see, I'm going to lower your fader. You're not allowing me to speak. You're not doing it. This is not right. Not right. You can't keep heckling here. Please don't heckle me. I am putting the facts. You can counter me after this. Let me put the facts. Are we going to have a debate or a shouting match? Don't do this. Please, I beg you. Now, there are three facts, viewers. No one is arguing that the matter is political. Who is making it political? There are ex-students, viewers. There are PFI activists who are on record to say we are there. There are congressmen, congresswomen. There are people from activist circles, all wearing hijabs and standing there. Je suis hijab is a refrain. Us too in hijab is a refrain. And they are mounting a vigil on the barricades, viewers. We've seen this play out in other forms in different theatres. But what has that got to do with this story? The story is simple. Dr. Raman says, why did the government suddenly invoke this? No, sir. Up on top is an undertaking that was signed last year in August 2021. I have a copy of that, viewers. You can see it. It's right on top. Allow me, sir. Please allow me. Please allow me. Please. It says that the college has the right to impose a uniform. It doesn't talk about the hijab.
Absolutely.
It doesn't talk about shawls. So today, or 10 days ago, or a month ago, the college decides
so
that there can be. Allow me, sir. Allow me, please.
Did it inform?
Allow me, sir. Allow me. Did the Kerala government, when it upheld the hijab, inform the students it was doing so? No. But you see, the Kerala government can do it. Listen to me, viewers. Listen to me. Viewers, please pay attention. Not to people who are misleading you tonight. And what do they want? Viewers, they want, forget about the whataboutery of wearing ghungats, etc. They want our women to go back in time. A position that they'd argued against in many other theatres. Why do they want this? This is a question best left to them. Is it because they just want to oppose the BJP for the sake of it? And they will even sacrifice women and betray them at the altar of patriarchy in doing so. That is the fundamental question, viewers. No one raised. Dr. Suman C. Raman was sitting here on this very show when Sabrimala opened its doors to women under court orders. Saying this is a victory for women. At that time, no one talked about free choice. No one talked about, viewers, no one talked about the choice or the religious edicts or the sentiments of Hindu deity at that time. And let me bring in the BJP spokesperson and advocate Sai Deepak on this. First to you, sir. Mr. Poonawala, why suddenly do you impose these restrictions without warning the students?
Thank you, Rahul. Rahul, this seems to be less about hijab and more about vote bank ka hisab and kitab. Let me tell you, Rahul, I watch your show, not just your show, but your entire channel during the day, and you have put out that in August 2021, these girls had signed an undertaking, and in point number 9, it was written, compulsory to wear uniform on all days, and they had signed this undertaking. Till December 2021, everything is hunky-dory and secular, and in January 2022, how this becomes communal suddenly? And therefore the question arises that when they have signed and now Mr. Sumansi Raman is saying that was it expressly mentioned you can't wear hijab? Sir, dear sir, it is not expressly mentioned that you can't wear ball chain and iron chain also. So tomorrow if you find some custom in some 13th century text that supports this argument, will you now start sending people saying that yeah, legitimately I can send somebody in a ball chain and iron chains? So this kind of logic makes no sense, sir. And simply because, one second, Mr. Raman, you can't be interrupting everybody. Rahul, he can't be interrupting every speaker and the anchor, and he is not even a Muslim. I am a Muslim also apart from the BJP spokesperson. So let me educate you about certain things about Islam. Sir, please, you have to calm down and you have to listen to others. This is not democratic in nature, the kind of behavior you are exhibiting here. You're only exhibiting the kind of Talibani mindset that you have and that you are so intolerant you can't hear others. Please, sir, calm down. Now, I want to ask everybody on this panel, where is hijab if it is so essential for Islam and is being compared wrongly to turban of Sikhism? Because in Sikhism, the 5 Ks are essential. The 5 pillars of Islam don't talk about hijab. But if anybody thinks hijab is that essential, show me the definition of hijab in the Quran Sharif. Which ayat, which chapter is the definition given? The only thing the Quran Sharif talks about, Rahul, it talks about modesty, it talks about the gaze, it talks about privacy, and this it also talks about how male gaze should have a sense of modesty. So therefore, there is no definition of hijab. So therefore, this is an interpretation, and therefore various courts, including Supreme Court in 2015, Madras High Court in 2006, Kerala High Court in 2018, have not held it as to be essential part of Islam, and it is not an essential part of Islam. And therefore, tomorrow is the logic this, Rahul, that tomorrow if a woman is serving in the Indian Armed Forces, a Muslim woman is serving in the Indian Armed Forces, is the Muslim woman, now in the name of custom, going to say that I will fight in the Indian Armed Forces or I will be in the Indian Armed Forces but I will not follow the uniform of the Indian Armed Forces? And why should we have double standards when Kerala government did the exact same thing as far as the NCC, the State Police Women Cadet is concerned? At that time, Mr. Sumansi Raman, expert by night on these entire hijab practices of Islam, had no word to utter. And look, on the one hand, in Rajasthan, Congress party says Ghungat is very patriarchal, it takes women centuries behind. But hijab is empowering. Well, then let women wear ghungat also. Why do you have double standards?
Well, let me tell you.
Standards are seen in Sabrimala also.
Yeah, respond.
Age-old custom has no place.
First of all, comparing a state police force and students in school is a ridiculous comparison. Point number 1.
Dr. Raman, how is it ridiculous? Explain. It's about uniformity. That's the principle we are comparing.
Point, Rahul, is Mr. Poonawala has not answered my question. Were these girls wearing the hijab earlier in
Mr.
class
Raman,
or not?
Kerala Muslim Education Society, note the words. Kerala Muslim Education Society banned hijab in 150 institutions. Can you tell me if Kerala Muslim Education Society less educated about essentials of Islam than you are? Are you saying Kerala Muslim Education Society knows less about the essentials of Islam than
I am not talking about Islam, sir. I am talking about having a tolerant attitude. I am not talking about the tenets of Islam.
To patriarchy. To patriarchy. You want to tolerate patriarchy.
You wear your hijab but outside the class.
You want to you want to be tolerant towards patriarchy, sir.
C-E.
Okay.
It's a matter of choice.
It's a matter of choice. It's a matter of choice. Viewers, when a man is deciding for you, where is the choice? But Dr. Sumansi Raman will not understand this. this?
Which man has decided it?
Because you see, he must come from a patriarchal position.
These girls are 16, 17.
I'm sorry, sir.
I'm sorry, Rahul.
I'm sorry.
Who has decided it?
Who has decided that these girls should, in any case, wear, whether through consent or through force,
wear hijab.
hijab? Who is deciding for them? Let me bring in Zeenat Shaukat Ali, Islamic scholar. She'll tell us. It is the mullah. He is deciding. Just like viewers, we had several traditions banned by the courts on the Hindu side, viewers, that were decided by males, conservatives, for women. Either we want to progress or we want to tolerate patriarchy. This is the question. When the Kerala Muslim Education Society bans the veil in 150 schools and colleges, there is silence. There is a Hindi word for it, sannata, silence. But when Karnataka does the same, and it's not, in this case, viewers, the state has only said the school has the right to impose uniformity. Does it become a communal issue? How is it this? Why is this hypocrisy there, Sai Deepak? Can you explain? You're an advocate of the Supreme Court. I've read a large part of your book now on a particular mindset that informs this. I haven't still finished, and I apologize. It's been a few months. I'm going through it. But it's a fascinating read. Can you explain?
So I have 3 specific points to make, and I hope I will not be interrupted by other panelists. I'll just make those points, and beyond that I have nothing more to add. 1, the comparison between Sabarimala, Shani Shignapur and the school perhaps is not justified, for point number 1, because the first place is a religious place. The second is an institution which obviously has a specific act where the government has given it the permission to prescribe a uniform. And in consonance with the powers given by the government under section 145 of the 1983 Act of the Karnataka state, which relates specifically to educational institutions, there are rules which came out in 1995, and there's a specific rule number 11, which permits this particular state to actually allow these institutions to come out with the dress code. From whatever I've understood so far, based on what's available in the public domain, it appears that these 2 schools in question have had a dress code all along. And several Muslim organizations from the very same region have also come out specifically saying that the hijab was not a practice as far as the students are concerned until at least December 2021. These are Muslim organizations from that particular region having said so specifically. Clearly something else is happening here. But I'm sorry to say the larger picture that I think it's important to understand is that this seems to be a manufactured controversy to effectively silence and detract attention from what has happened to the student Lavanya in Tamil Nadu. That is my personal opinion. I could be 100% wrong. The point I also have to make is that, Mr. Shivshankar, I disagree with you on the position with respect to both Shani Shignapur and Sabarimala. Having participated in these proceedings, I just have to make one correction. Since the matter is before a 9-judge bench, I don't wish to comment beyond the point except to the extent of saying that today, as on date, Sabarimala's position stands reinstated to what it was before the judgment of 28th of September 2018, and therefore the practice of the temple stands restored because larger issues have been raised before a constitution bench. Whether it's right or wrong is ultimately for the court to decide. My opinion on this particular subject is out in the public domain, so therefore I don't wish to say anything further beyond this, except to the extent of saying that when it comes to secular institutions, your comparison between the state police machinery as well as the school is 100% bang on the point.
No, my decision
yes,
to draw the equivalence is on a very narrow point about whether the state can actually interpret or legislate on religious injunctions. And
on
I
that,
said
let me
that
just make 3 points.
I said, and I've also said that there is no evidence. I'm sorry, but there is no evidence, if you allow me, that equates the practice of donning a hijab to the rights of the deity in Sabarimala. So there are, on that, there is no doubt. We cannot draw that parallel. I'm only on the narrow point of whether a state has the right eventually to look into religious issues if the wearing of the hijab is deemed a religious issue. That's all.
So here just 2 points. First point, as far as Sikhism is concerned, anybody who has visited a Gurudwara will tell you
Yes.
that you're supposed to cover your hair, whether you're a man or a woman doesn't make a difference. You can't even have food in the langar regardless of your gender if your hair is not covered. Therefore, the treatment extends to both genders. That's the first submission. So assuming that it's an integral part of Sikhism, of which I'm not an expert, it applies to both genders, is the clear position. Second, let us also remember that as far as the rule in this particular case is concerned, it only says kindly do not wear any religious symbols which are visible to the extent that they don't show in the classroom. Therefore, students are allowed to wear whatever they wish to by way of a hijab over and above the uniform until they enter the classroom. But inside the classroom, a semblance of equality is expected to be maintained for multiple reasons. I am asking myself a simple question. Can the rule get more reasonable in terms of saying at least within the classroom, let there be no visible symbols, and this is a secular place run under a specific act which the government has the obligation to enforce and has the power to enforce.
Mr. Sir,
If this
should
position,
I remove the ash on my forehead when I enter the class?
Sir, if I may, sir.
Should I remove the sacred ash on my vibhuti should be removed?
I am happy to answer the question. I anticipated this, sir.
If
I anticipated this question, sir.
I should remove it.
Can I answer this question? Can I answer this question? Please. So the most sensitive question perhaps I was expecting from you is, should I remove the Poonal or the Janayu before I enter the classroom? So let me answer the question. The question is,
I said it because it's visible.
Exactly, visible.
Janayu
Exactly, the
visible.
question is visible. Exactly, the point is therefore visible. If the rule exists at this stage, the fact of the matter is it has not been challenged since 1995. That's point number one. So it has to be applied equally to both parties. I am not making a case with respect to the Hindus separately and the Muslims separately. The point is, since January 2022, there's been a sudden violation by one particular party, ostensibly because somebody else is egging them from behind. It has incited reactions from the other side saying, if you are going to allow them to wear a hijab, we will also wear a saffron towel. That's the point. That's all I have to say. Now over to the rest of the panelists. And
you have not seen the videos of the teachers and principals who have explicitly said that they have been wearing it for months and years now.
Sir, Muslim organizations from the region certainly don't have an axe to grind with their own children.
You are referring to
Dr. Raman, you just have to understand that perhaps you are looking at this from a very, very selective and biased lens. You just have to, unfortunately, sir, there is another side to this story you may not choose to. You might have worn a veil over your or blinkers over your eyes, and you don't choose for motivated reasons to look at the other facts, but that is your call, and that, sir, is your prerogative. You can be biased as you want on Times Now because you are representing another side of the argument. So I don't expect you to look at this. I'm not expecting you to look at it from a bipartisan way. If you did, sir, we would not be having a debate. So I congratulate you for being biased tonight, and I'm saying it openly. Good, because you're making this debate more enriching and worthy. The only problem is, sir, that you haven't quite got your facts right. And had you got your facts right, we would have had an informed debate. Apart from an entertaining and enriching debate, we would have had a more informed debate. Now, 1 minute. Now, 1 minute.
You have not been able to refute a single fact that
we have refuted, sir. We have refuted. You drew a false equivalence between the turban.
Not at all.
Sir, you drew a false equivalence between. You drew a false equivalence. अब देखिए बोलने नहीं देंगे उस्ताद जी हमारे को.
Not even talk about the turban.
Doctor, please.
Not even raise the turban.
We have demolished the false equivalence between the turban.
Absolutely not. You can feel happy.
Between the. If you don't choose to, sir, accept, I can't help you. I'm sorry.
Anybody who's watching
Sai Deepak has established. I have given the facts out of how integral the turban is to the Sikh religion. You cannot divorce the two. And it is applied equally when you go into a Gurdwara. Sai Deepak says you have to cover your head. But that is not the case with the hijab. And there are plenty of precedents in law which have taken an opposing view on the hijab. In fact, the Kerala Muslim Education Society itself has banned the hijab from 150 institutions. That is the Muslim body doing so. Now, Zeenat Shaukat Ali, let us inform Dr. Suman C. Raman why. And, I am directed by a very honorable and pious man called Nizam Bhai. And Nizam Bhai himself has told me exactly what Shehzaad Poonawala said, that the Quran doesn't expressly mention the term hijab. In fact, it mentions another word for partition. Even I have done some reading on this, though I am no scholar like you, madam, and I want to bring you into this. Zeenat Shaukat Ali, is the word hijab mentioned in the Quran? Is it integral to the practice of the faith? And why aren't you wearing one if it is?
The word hijab is not used for clothing. There are 6 verses in the Quran that have used the word hijab, and they have to do, it's a metaphorical use of the word, that there is a partition or there is a curtain or there is a distance between a human being and God, between good and evil, between the good people and the not good people. And there is one verse which is talking about, Solomon's horses run into the night and get hidden in the hijab. The hijab means the curtain of the night. There's another verse which talks of Mary, who's isolated herself when she's pregnant, and she said she's put a partition between her and others. And there's one verse which is talking about, for which this entire controversy is raised, and which I must point out, is that at the time of, at the time in Medina, there was a wedding when a lot of guests had come in, and so therefore, when in the Prophet's house, there was no door. It was a mosque. So there was no door and there was no chilman. So it was said that, and people were invading the privacy at the time of the wedding. So it was said to put the curtain between them. But here also, there is no mention of the word clothing. So let me be implicitly clear that the
implicitly
word
clear. Okay. Implicitly clear she has been. Let me bring in Dr. Zehra now. Dr. Zehra, your response to Zeenat Shaukat Ali.
Yes, what Sister Zeenat Shaukat Ali has just said, let me add the verses of the Holy Quran. I would like to make the point clear here is, first of all, it's a matter of education of girls students, and their exams are very much near.
Dr. Zehra, that's a separate argument. That is a separate argument. Dr. Zehra, I'm asking you to clarify on the integralness of the hijab to the faith. Forget about other issues. Please talk about the area that we want your expertise on. You are the president of the Sharia Committee of Hyderabad. You must take a stand on whether the hijab is integral to the practice of Islam.
Exactly. Hijab is integral to the practice. It is an essential integral. And the verse in Surah Hijab, verse number 59, clearly states that the believing women, that means the Muslim women, when they step out of the house, apart from their regular clothing, they must cover themselves from head to toe with an extra shawl. It can be a dupatta, it can be a stitched burqa.
Islamic scholar,
it is different in different parts of the world.
Islamic scholar, Zeenat Shaukat Ali is disagreeing with you. Why are you disagreeing with her, Zeenat ma'am?
See, this is what is the ruling of the Holy Quran. And this was the practice 59. At the time of the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And this is the practice across the world of all the Muslim women. It is a mark of their identity.
Dr. Zehra,
what we have to
Dr. Zehra, can I ask you a question on this point? When Turkey decided to do away with the hijab, when other Muslim countries decided to do away with the hijab, and you know that there is a Central Asian country that does away with the hijab, are they being bad Muslims in that country?
See, why are we targeting our students?
No, madam, forget that. You answer the question. Dr. Zehra, when a Central Asian country says, madam, when Central Asian country says that please do not wear the hijab, you will be punished. You will be punished for wearing the hijab. Are they being unholy?
Why have they created
Dr. Zehra, you're not answering my question.
Why have
you're not answering my question? If it is integral to the practice of the faith, why is it, madam, please, let's have a conversation. Yeah, I agree with you. Why disallow women? All of that is agreed. I'm not getting into that. I'm asking you, ma'am, for a very specific interpretation of whether hijab is integral. You say it's integral. So I'm asking you, Turkey, Iran, even Afghanistan for a while had banned hijab. There is a Central Asian country which bans hijab. There are European countries, Muslim majority European countries that ban hijab. I'm asking you, are there bad Muslims there?
Which are the monarchies?
Are there bad Muslims there? They are not monarchies. Ma'am, they are not monarchies. The Central Asian Republic is not a monarchy. Do you want me to name it?
See, I would like to state here that we take guidance from the holy book.
Okay, so let me bring in
happening in the
Zeenat Shaukat Ali. Last 30 seconds, please respond to Dr. Zehra. Yes.
I think that the entire concept, has been, politicized and put behind, the real idea. Are they not Muslims? We are talking about Saudi Arabia. We are talking about Abdullah ibn Mutlaq, one of the most respected clerics, who has said that the abaya can be worn or not worn, and 90% of the Muslim women of the world do not wear the abaya.
The education of the girls. The entire discussion is about the career of the students.
Well,
why are we taking this?
Miss Ali wants to respond to you, sir.
I will not be interrupted. It's not right.
Government and the intellectuals prepare a proper guideline.
Dr. Zehra, one second. Let Miss Ali respond to you. Let her respond to you. She never interrupted you, madam.
You're bringing in rules abruptly.
You are not. No, 1 second. That's a different question altogether. Abrupt rules. Is that different question? We are talking about the centrality of hijab to Islam. And Shaukat Ali is saying to you that you are wrong. 1 minute, madam. I'll have to lower your fader. Please do not interfere. She never interrupted you at all. Give her the respect. She's also a scholar. She's also done some work. Please.
Why don't we debate on the real issue?
Yes.
Thank you. Now, after
that is the real issue. That is what the court is deciding. Whether the veil is integral, whether the hijab is integral to Islam is what is being decided, because you are saying it is integral and it must, therefore, the right must devolve upon the children. That is what the court is interpreting. They are not talking about anything else.
It is not for the end.
Okay.
So
let me viewers, let me come in here. The courts will decide this issue, viewers, one way or the other. It will decide this issue.
Not integral to Islam.
Certainly, in some of the most devout Islamic countries, there are injunctions against the hijab, viewers. It's a different matter. That in some countries like Turkey, it's back. Why is it back, viewers? Let me tell you. Because there, the cleric class has struck back hard. It happened in Iran also, viewers. It happened in Afghanistan. At one extreme with the Taliban. I don't know. But are we in this country falling so back to accommodate that we are in the danger of falling over backwards? Think about it, viewers. I'm taking a short break.